The blue lights ignited just as Justice Naomi Reed crossed the county line. She glanced at the speedometer, 44 in a 45, then at the rearview mirror, where rain smeared the patrol car's headlights into two white blades. Behind it, nearly swallowed by the predawn dark, the black judicial protection SUV dropped back. Naomi eased her mother's Buick onto the shoulder. The tires hissed through standing water, and the cardboard box on the passenger seat slid forward, spilling a stack of yellowed newspaper clippings against the dashboard. Her mother had saved every one. Naomi Reed appointed to appeals court. Local daughter makes history. The oldest clipping still carried a faint grease stain from her mother's kitchen table. Naomi reached to steady the box, then stopped when the patrol car door opened. Sergeant Wade Danner stepped into the rain without hurrying. One hand rested near his holster, the other adjusted the brim of his campaign hat. 2 miles earlier, Naomi had watched him remain parked as a white pickup, and then a silver minivan passed with decorative frames crowding their rear plates. Now his spotlight flooded the Buick's cabin. Window down. Naomi lowered it 4 inches. Cold rain peppered her sleeve. "Good morning, Sergeant." Danner aimed his flashlight past her face, sweeping it over the worn cloth seats, the clipping box, and the old brass key fob hanging from the ignition. "License and registration. May I ask why I was stopped?" His smile arrived without warmth. Plate frames obscuring a character. Naomi looked toward the side mirror. The frame, best MOM in the world, had been there for 12 years. Which character? License. Registration. She took both from her wallet and glove compartment, narrating each movement before making it. Danner accepted the documents between 2 fingers. His body camera faced her from the center of his chest, but its small red recording light was dark. He studied her license, then the registration, then her face. Naomi Reed. He drew out the name as if testing it. "That you?" "The photograph is current." Didn't ask about the picture. Rain ticked against the Buick's roof. 40 yards behind them, the protection SUV had stopped with its running lights off, just as the detail had been instructed to do unless Naomi signaled. The arrangement had begun 3 days earlier, after an envelope arrived at her chambers containing a photograph of her mother's empty brick house. Across the bottom, in block letters, someone had written, "Your robe won't protect you on MY Road." Naomi pressed her thumb against the ridged edge of the brass key fob. Danner bent closer, filling the gap above the window with his face. "Car's registered to a woman with your name." "It's registered to me." "That's so." His flashlight settled on the box of court clippings. "Funny. Doesn't look like your kind of car." A truck roared past, throwing dirty water across his boots. He never looked away from her. "So tell me, girl," he said softly, turning her registration face down, "where'd you get it?" Naomi held his gaze. "I inherited it from my mother." Danner's eyes flicked to the brass fob beneath her thumb. Mom's Buick was scratched into its back in her mother's uneven handwriting. A joke from the year Naomi had bought her a newer car, and watched her refuse to drive it. "Your mother got a name?" he asked. "You have the registration." "I asked you." Water gathered along the brim of his hat, and fell in steady drops onto the door. Naomi could still smell her mother's peppermint hand cream in the cracked steering wheel cover. The house she had left 20 minutes ago had smelled different: dust, cold radiators, rooms waiting for a voice that would not return. Lillian Reed. Danner glanced at the registration again. Signature here doesn't match the one on your license. One was signed 12 years ago. People's signatures don't change that much. Arthritis changed hers. His jaw tightened at the correction. He aimed the flashlight through the narrow opening. Anything in the vehicle I should know about? Drugs? Stolen property? Weapons? No, then you won't mind if I look. I do not consent to a search. The smile disappeared. He touched the radio at his shoulder without taking his eyes off her. County, I've got a driver refusing to cooperate. Possible fraudulent registration. Static cracked through the rain. Copy. Need another unit. Stand by. She's reaching around, acting agitated. Naomi looked at her hands, both resting high on the wheel, fingers spread against faded gray vinyl. Your body camera is not recording, she said. Dana's palm moved across the black unit on his chest, covering it. Keep your hands where I can see them. They have not moved. Don't argue roadside procedure with me. A gust shoved rain through the opening and speckled the clippings. Naomi watched one page curl around the headline her mother had framed after Naomi's swearing in. Beneath the box lay the photograph from the thread envelope, sealed inside a clear evidence sleeve for delivery to courthouse security. If Dana searched the Buick, he would find it. Worse, he would learn the empty house in the photograph belonged to the woman sitting inches from him. His flashlight shifted to the rear window. The protection SUV remained dark behind the patrol car, close enough that Naomi could make out two silhouettes through the rain. Dana stepped back and raised his voice. You in the black vehicle, move along. This is a traffic stop. The SUV did not move. He slapped the Buick's roof. I said move. Its headlights came on, rolled backward, then disappeared around the curve. Dana gave a satisfied grunt. Family of yours? No, friends planning to make this difficult. No, he leaned down again. You're alone now, Ms. Reed. Think carefully before your next answer. Beneath her thumb, Naomi felt the shallow brass ridge beside the engraved words. The protection chief had installed the switch that morning and told her it would open a live audio channel without a visible light. She pressed until the fob clicked once. Dana's radio hissed. County, send that unit, he said. Driver may be concealing contraband. Then his flashlight landed on the edge of the sealed photograph beneath the clippings, and for the first time, his expression changed before he could hide it. Dana's flashlight remained fixed on the clear plastic sleeve. What's under those papers? Court security material. That an official answer? It is an accurate one. He angled his head, trying to see around the clipping curled over the photograph. For half a second, the beam caught the bottom edge, the wet county road, the brick mailbox, 3 block letters from the handwritten message. Dana pulled the light away too quickly. Naomi felt the emergency switch press a shallow circle into her thumb. Somewhere beyond the curve, the protection officers were hearing every word. She kept her voice level. Sergeant, please return my documents and request a supervisor. You don't direct my stop. Then state the specific facts supporting your suspicion that the registration is fraudulent. Dana tapped her license against the roof. The signature. Your evasive answers. Your refusal to let me verify what's inside. Refusing consent is not evidence of a crime. His nostrils flared. There you go again. Headlights swept across the wet pavement behind them, then vanished around the bend. Backup was coming. Naomi had spent years watching a false statement harden into fact once it entered an official report. She reached slowly toward the inside pocket of her coat. Dana's hand snapped to his holster. "Stop reaching." Her fingers froze against the lapel. "I am retrieving government identification." Hands on the wheel. She returned them. Rain drummed harder against the roof, rattling like dry beans in a tin pan. "My credential is in my left inside pocket. May I remove it?" He stared at her for a long moment. "2 fingers. Slow." Naomi drew out the leather case and extended it through the narrow window. The gold state seal flashed beneath his light. Under it sat her photograph, full name and title, Justice, State Supreme Court. This was the moment a reasonable officer would have paused. Called the number printed beneath the seal. Checked the court directory. Dana did none of those things. His eyes stopped on her name. The small muscle beside his mouth jumped once. Then he turned the credential face down in his palm. "Where'd you buy this?" "That credential was issued by the state. Internet sells good replicas." He pressed his shoulder radio. "County, update. Driver may be impersonating a government official. She's produced what appears to be a forged judicial credential." The dispatcher's voice sharpened. "Copy. Possible impersonator. Backup is 2 minutes out." Naomi's attempt to end the stop had given him a more serious accusation. Dana tucked her license, registration, and credential beneath his ticket book, keeping all 3. "Call the administrative office of the courts," she said. "Use the verification number inside the case." "You think a title changes how this works?" "I think verification would establish the truth." He bent until rainwater from his hat brim struck her cheek. His voice dropped, stripped now of its practiced courtesy. "I know exactly who you are." Naomi's thumb went still on the brass fob. Dana glanced toward the clippings, then toward the hidden photograph beneath them. "And that robe doesn't protect you on my road." For one beat, only rain moved. It slid down the window between them and soaked the shoulder of Naomi's coat. She pressed her thumb against the key fob until the brass edge hurt. "Repeat that, Sergeant." Dana's eyes narrowed. "You heard me. I'm asking you to repeat your exact words." Her mother had taught history for 38 years and kept a cassette recorder beside the telephone whenever the school board called. "Make people say the ugly thing clearly," Lillian used to tell her. "Don't clean it up for them afterward." Dana leaned closer, close enough for Naomi to smell coffee and wintergreen gum. "I said, that robe doesn't protect you on my road." Beyond the curve, Chief Daniel Mercer stared at the audio meter glowing on the SUV's dashboard. Naomi could not see him reach for his radio, but his voice came faintly through the receiver concealed beneath her collar. Phrase confirmed. Hold position. Possible threat nexus. Then headlights washed over Dana's back. A county cruiser stopped at an angle behind his patrol car, tires crunching gravel. A young officer climbed out, rain cover snapping around his hat. His nameplate read Ortiz. He looked no older than 30. "What have we got, Sarge?" Dana straightened and changed voices so smoothly it chilled her. "Possible stolen vehicle, fraudulent documents, government impersonation. Driver's been reaching, refusing lawful commands, might have something under those papers." Ortiz glanced through the window. His gaze found Naomi's hands still spread on the wheel, then the overturned credential beneath Dana's ticket book. Uncertainty crossed his face. Dana caught it. "Don't let the costume fool you," he said. "She's been working me since I walked up." "Officer Ortiz," Naomi said, reading his name aloud so the open channel would capture it. "I am Justice Naomi Reed of the State Supreme Court. I do not consent to a search. I am requesting a supervisor and independent verification of my credential." Ortiz shifted his weight. Just cooperate and we'll sort it out." "I am cooperating with lawful instructions." Dana gave a short laugh. "See? Everything's a courtroom with her." Naomi could hear her own pulse beneath the rain. She wanted to say her court had reviewed Ortiz's academy graduation appeal 6 months earlier. She remembered his file, the night classes, the father recovering from a stroke, the instructor, who had marked him absent while he sat in an emergency room. Her deciding vote had put him back in the academy. But invoking that now would turn truth into leverage, and Dana was already building a story about privilege. "My name and office can be verified in less than a minute," she said. "Call the number printed inside that credential." Ortiz looked at Dana. "Sarge, maybe we should, you questioning my scene." Dana cut in. Ortiz's mouth closed. A passing semi shook the Buick, spraying the windows with grey water. Dana handed Ortiz the ticket book, but kept Naomi's credential trapped beneath his palm. "Cover the passenger side." "For what?" "We are removing her." Naomi heard Mercer again, sharper now, through the hidden receiver. "Justice Reed, do not unfasten your seat belt." Dana's hand closed around the driver's door handle. "Last chance, Ms. Reed. Step out on your own." "Am I under arrest?" "You obstructing." "What lawful act have I obstructed?" The lock snapped upward beneath Dana's thumb. Naomi had never unlocked it. The door swung into the rain, cold air rushing across Naomi's knees. Dana planted one boot against the sill so she could not pull it closed. "Out? I am requesting a supervisor." "And I'm done requesting." Ortiz moved toward the passenger side, but his body camera showed a blinking red light. Dana noticed it too. "Kill your camera." Ortiz stopped. "Sarge? Sensitive government documents in plain view. Shut it off until we secure the scene. Policy says it stays on during removal." Dana turned his head slowly. Rain ran from the edge of his hat onto his collar. "Policy also says you follow scene command." Ortiz's hand rose toward his camera, hovered, then dropped. "I'm leaving it on." For the first time, Dana looked exposed. Only for a second. Then his face settled, and he reached into the Buick. Naomi pressed back against the seat. "Do not touch me." "Then release your belt." "I will not exit until you state the grounds for arrest." Beneath her collar, Mercer's voice cut through the hiss of rain. "Justice Reed, we have an audit return. Dana's credentials accessed your vehicle record 3 days ago." Naomi's breath caught halfway in. 3 days ago, the morning the photograph had arrived. He also opened the linked property file, Mercer continued. "Lillian Reed residence. Restricted search. No case number entered." This stop had not begun when the blue lights came on. Dana had known the Buick. He had known the house. He had waited near the county line for her mother's car to pass. Naomi looked at the overturned credential beneath his ticket book. "You searched my mother's address." Dana's fingers paused inches from her shoulder. Ortiz leaned around the windshield. What did she say? Nothing that matters, Dana snapped. Naomi kept her eyes on him. 3 days ago, you accessed Lillian Reed's property record without a case number. His mouth tightened. You judges think databases belong to you. Ortiz took one step back. Sarge, did you run her before today? Get to the passenger side. Did you? Dana ignored him and lowered his voice to Naomi. Should have stayed away from that empty house on Briarwood. The street name landed harder than the threat phrase. Naomi had never mentioned it. Mercer heard it too. Confirmed, he said in her earpiece. We're moving. An 18-wheeler crawled past in the near lane, its tires throwing a curtain of water over the open door. Through the spray, Naomi saw the black SUV surge around the bend, headlights flashing. Dana followed her glance. His hand shot across her chest toward the seatbelt latch. Out? Now? Ortiz called. Sarge, wait. Dana's forearm pressed against Naomi's coat, pinning her to the seat as his fingers closed around the buckle. The Buick rocked under his weight. Then 2 doors slammed behind him. The first man reached Dana before the seatbelt released. Mercer locked one hand around Dana's wrist and drove it flat against the Buick's doorframe, stopping his fingers an inch above the buckle. The second protection officer, Lena Brooks, slid between Naomi and Dana, one arm shielding Naomi's chest. State judicial protection, she said. Take your hand off Justice Reed. Now? Dana twisted toward his holster. Mercer caught his elbow. Don't. Ortiz drew his weapon, then froze, rain dripping from its barrel, as he looked from Dana to the credentials clipped openly to Mercer's belt. Officer Ortiz, Mercer said, calm and hard, lower it. Your camera is evidence. Ortiz's breathing came fast. Then he pointed the weapon at the pavement and stepped back. Brooks unfastened Naomi's belt and guided her into the shelter of the SUV's open rear door. Wet asphalt gleamed beneath flashing lights. Naomi's knees shook once when her shoes touched the shoulder, and she pressed the brass fob into her palm until they steadied. Dana jerked against Mercer's grip. She reached for something. She's got possible contraband in that car. Both hands were visible, Ortiz said. Dana stared at him. You weren't here. My camera was. A third protection vehicle stopped ahead of the Buick. Agent Tessa Grant climbed out carrying a tablet sealed in a clear rain cover. So was ours. She turned the screen toward Ortiz. The video showed the Buick approaching the county line from nearly half a mile away. Dana's cruiser sat dark beneath an overpass. A white pickup passed him. Then a silver minivan, both with plate frames covering the same portion of their tags. He did not move. When Naomi's Buick appeared, his brake lights flashed before her plate was even readable. Grant swiped to another window. His body camera entered standby at 5:41. Manual input. His first database query for this plate was 3 days ago. Dana's face lost color. That's restricted information. Yes, Grant said. It is? She played the protection audio. His own voice cut through the rain. I know exactly who you are. Then, that robe doesn't protect you on my road. Ortiz looked down at the judicial credentials still trapped beneath Dana's ticket book. You told Dispatch you thought it was forged. Dana's polished tone cracked. You don't understand what she's involved in. Then explain Briarwood, Naomi said. He turned toward her, and the look he gave her was not surprise. It was calculation, the same quick, naked look she had seen when his flashlight touched the threat photograph. Mercer removed Dana's sidearm and handed it to Grant. Sergeant Wade Dana, you are being disarmed pending investigation. Do not reach for anything. Grant leaned into the patrol car to secure his computer. Its screen was still awake. Naomi saw her own driver's license photograph beside her mother's address, opened under Dana's credentials. But below it sat another restricted file, accessed 4 minutes before the stop. It contained the protection route, the SUV's unmarked plate, and the names of every officer assigned to her that morning. Dana had not mistaken them for family. He had ordered them away because he knew exactly who they were. Then Grant opened the final search tab, and Mercer went silent. The name on that file was not Naomi's. It was Officer Miguel Ortiz's. Grant enlarged the file. It was Ortiz's sealed academy appeal, the hospital records, attendance dispute, and Naomi's deciding vote restoring him to the class. Dana gave a thin smile. Ask your witness why he owes her his badge. Ortiz stared at the screen. How did you get that? Same way she got you sent here. I never contacted dispatch, Naomi said. Grant checked the call log. Her gloved finger stopped. Backup had not been assigned by the dispatcher. Dana had requested Ortiz by unit number before activating his lights. He had chosen the one officer whose testimony could later be painted as repayment. Sirens rose beyond the curve. 3 county cruisers boxed in the shoulder, followed by a white command vehicle. A broad man in a waterproof captain's jacket stepped out. Dana's shoulders relaxed. Captain Rusk. Rusk surveyed Mercer's grip, Dana's empty holster, and Naomi beside the SUV. Release my sergeant. He attempted to forcibly remove a protected justice after accessing her restricted route, Mercer said. We have recordings. You're outside courthouse property, Chief. Release him. Mercer did, slowly. Dana rubbed his wrist and stepped behind Rusk, as if crossing an invisible line into safety. Rusk took Naomi's credential from the ticket book, looked at it for less than a second, then handed it back. Justice Reed, I apologize for the confusion. We'll conduct an internal review. This was not confusion. Rain ran from Naomi's hair onto her collar. Your sergeant accessed a protected address, selected my vehicle, falsified reports to dispatch, and quoted a threat mailed to my chambers. Allegations, Rusk said. And right now, I have an allegation that your security officers assaulted a county deputy. Ortiz stepped forward. Captain, Sergeant Dana ordered me to shut off my camera. Nobody asked you, officer. His camera was disabled before the stop. Rusk's eyes hardened. Go sit in your unit. Ortiz did not move. Behind Rusk, Dana pressed his radio. County, be advised the driver's associates interfered with a lawful detention and accessed restricted department systems. Naomi heard the trap close in his polished phrasing. Her protectors became associates. His database misuse became theirs. His assault became interference. The same machinery that had transformed visible hands into furtive movement was already rewriting the roadside. Grant looked down at the tablet. Chief. The patrol computer's screen had gone black. She tapped the keyboard. Nothing. Remote security wipe initiated. Can you recover it? Naomi asked. Maybe. But the live database session is gone. Rusk held out his hand for the tablet. County equipment and records stay with county investigators. Grant pulled it against her chest. This is state property. A sharp tone sounded from Mercer's phone. He read the alert, and all the color left his face. Alarm at Briarwood. Naomi turned toward the road. Her mother's house stood empty 12 miles away, holding 20 years of letters, photographs, and the desk where Lillian had saved every clipping. Mercer raised his radio. Static answered. Then the emergency system transmitted 6 words from inside the dark house. Judicial protection route has been compromised. Dana smiled before he remembered not to. Naomi saw it, the quick lift at one corner of Dana's mouth. Secure his radio, she said. Rusk stepped into her path. You do not command my officers. No, Naomi said. But I recognize consciousness of guilt when it smiles at an alarm. Ortiz looked from Dana to the shoulder microphone beneath his rain-darkened collar. He transmitted right before the alert. Dana backed toward Rusk's command vehicle. Watch yourself, rookie. Agent Grant, Mercer said, can the house system identify the trigger? Grant's fingers flew across the rain-slicked tablet. Checking the state mirror. Rusk reached for it. Brooks blocked him with one forearm. Don't touch state evidence. This is my county. Then stop helping someone contaminate it. A low engine growl rolled through the rain. 2 dark blue state police vehicles came around the curve, followed by a mobile investigations van. Dana's hand moved toward his empty holster before he remembered Mercer had taken the weapon. Major Evelyn Price emerged in a clear rain shell, silver hair plastered against her temples. Nobody leaves. Rusk stiffened. This is a county traffic investigation. It became a state judicial threat investigation when your sergeant quoted a mailed threat and accessed a protected route. Price held up her phone. The emergency channel transmitted everything. Mercer replayed the video. On screen, Dana yanked open the Buick's door and reached across Naomi. Then Mercer's hand locked down his wrist as Brooks shielded her. The audio rose cleanly over the roadside rain. State judicial protection. Take your hand off Justice Reed. Now? The younger deputies watched without moving. Dana pointed at Ortiz. He's compromised. She saved his career. Ortiz removed his own sidearm, placed it on his cruiser's hood, and raised both hands. Then take my weapon. Take my badge. Just don't let him write the report. Price nodded to a state lieutenant, who collected both. Grant's tablet chimed. Got the trigger. She turned the screen outward. A command log showed the Briarwood alarm had been remotely activated 43 seconds earlier through the county mobile gateway. The authentication line carried Dana's badge number. Rusk's face went slack. That could be spoofed. Then you won't object to preserving every county server, Price said. 2 investigators stepped toward Dana. He glanced at the open Buick, then bolted between the patrol cars. Mercer caught him in 3 strides, driving him chest-first against Rusk's vehicle without striking him. Metal cuffs clicked around Dana's wrists. Sergeant Wade Dana, Price said, you are detained for interference with a protected official, unauthorized database access, and evidence tampering pending an independent charging review. Dana twisted toward Naomi. You think this ends with me? Naomi stood beside her mother's open car, rain soaking the clippings scattered across the floorboard. "No," she said. "I think it begins with the record." Grant called from the patrol cruiser. The wiped computer had reconnected to the state audit server, restoring one outbound message Dana had sent 4 minutes before the stop. She read it once, then looked toward the cardboard box in the Buick. "Chief," he told someone Justice Reed was carrying the original threat evidence. Her screen chimed again. This time the message came from the protection team at Briarwood. "Rear window breached. House entered." Then a photograph loaded, and Naomi recognized the man standing inside her mother's study. It was Nolan Dana, Wade's younger brother, a county evidence technician Naomi had seen replacing courthouse cameras the morning the threat arrived. In the photograph, Nolan stood beside Lillian's desk wearing black gloves, one hand wrapped around a compact printer. "He printed the letter there," Naomi said. Grant enlarged the image. On the desk lay the same cream stationery as the threat, its torn edge matching fibers preserved on the original envelope. Price spoke into her radio. "Briarwood team, detain him. Preserve the printer, gloves, vehicle, everything." Dana stopped struggling. Rusk stared at him. "You brought your brother into this." "Captain," Dana said, "don't say another word." That sentence preserved what his smile had nearly exposed. 7 months later, it played in a packed courtroom 2 counties away. Naomi watched none of the trial from the bench. She had transferred every recording to an independent prosecutor, disclosed Ortiz's Academy appeal, and recused herself from every connected case. The evidence spoke without her. Dana's database searches, Nolan's printer, the root file, the threat photograph recovered from Nolan's phone, and years of traffic stops buried beneath missing camera footage. State analysts compared dispatch logs with plate data. Again and again, white motorists passed with obstructed frames. Dana waited for black drivers. His camera entered standby. His reports filled with the same phrases: furtive movement, evasive answers, officer safety, even when store cameras and dashboard video showed hands resting motionless on steering wheels. 23 motorists received new hearings. 11 convictions were vacated. Nolan pleaded guilty and admitted Wade had ordered him to photograph the house, mail the threat, and remove the printer if Naomi contacted investigators. Captain Rusk was removed after the server audit proved he had authorized improper remote wipes in 3 earlier complaints. Ortiz surrendered his badge during the investigation, then received it back after his body camera recording and testimony helped secure Dana's conviction for official misconduct, intimidation, unlawful database access, and evidence tampering. When the verdict was read, Dana looked toward the gallery as if searching for Naomi. Her seat was empty. She was at Briarwood, sealing the last cardboard box. Rain tapped the study window. The repaired glass still carried a pale line of fresh putty, and peppermint hand cream lingered inside the desk drawer. Months later, the department's new cameras activated automatically when emergency lights came on. Officers could not disable them without a recorded reason and supervisor alert. Quarterly audits now compared stops by race, location, and outcome. Naomi knew no policy could manufacture courage. Ortiz had supplied that himself when he refused to turn off his camera. On her first morning back in chambers, she lifted the oldest clipping from the box, the one stained with grease from her mother's kitchen table, and placed it beneath the framed oath on her wall. Below it, she taped a handwritten note: "The law counts most when no one knows your name." Outside, dawn broke over the courthouse. Naomi picked up the brass key fob, walked to her mother's 12-year-old Buick, and crossed the county line without a single blue light behind her.